All right, so in this video, we're going to be going over coverage adjustments from the $326 when we're blitzing. So when we're typically sending 5 players at the QB. Now, I'll say at the very beginning, this should not be nearly as long as the block shed coverage adjustments video for dollar because there's only so much that you can do when you're blitzing 5 players, right? So we're going to just come out and DB fire 2 press. That's what I'm mainly going to recommend blitzing out of. I will show one way that you could actually blitz out of cover 3 cloud and how it could be kind of useful. But for the most part, I'm going to recommend just staying in DB Fire 2 press. Now, I also am going to be changing my zone drops when I want to blitz. Typically, that's ideally because we want to have shorter zone drops out there. We don't want to have 20 to 25 to even like 30-yard flats. We don't want those deeper flats on the field when we're blitzing because we're trying to make a quick read and we want to take that quick read away, right? So we don't want to like have a 25-yard flat out there and then be blitzing. Essentially, if we're on like a regular down, like a 1st and 10, a 2nd and 9, whatever the case may be, you don't want to have a 25-yard flat out there and give up a 10 yards to a flat when you were blitzing because you want to make them, you want to take away those early reads, try to force them to wait on their longer reads, and then hopefully they're sacked before they can make those reads. So we're coming on DB Fire 2 press, and we're going to come on gun bunch offset. We're not going to cover as many formations as we did in the block shed defense either because the setups are going to be pretty much the same universally across most formations. They're not going to change. And I'll explain why as we get into the video. So we'll just do bunch offset and tight slots in this video. We'll start with double post, one of the more popular plays, if not the most popular play from bunch offset. And we'll just set this back up. We'll just set this up. So here's the base look, right? Honestly, this is how I would probably blitz the majority of the game. We have this 5-yard yellow here that's going to take away any early drags coming from the bunch on the right side. If they have like a running back out route, this vert hook would guard it, at least at the very beginning as it was cutting. And these 15-yard flats will play pretty well, even if they threw the flat. So that's actually one of the first things I'm going to do. I can't use her perfectly while I do this because I want to be the quarterback as I make this throw. If I throw this flat out there, like, now I didn't get to click on, and I'm trying to use 2 controllers as best I can. But they only gained 1 yard there. Now, if they were actually playing, if I had 2 users going against each other, I would be able to click onto my flat and make a tackle, but I would also be able to click on and maybe get a better rack animation considering I just stopped there, right? So I'd probably say I would gain about 2 to 3 yards on that pass, honestly, if I threw it that early. So that's something I'll live with. I'll give that up if they want to make that read. I'll flip here. So now going the flip side, there's nothing really else really for them to throw. So I'm not going to throw the flat this time, and I'll just show how we'll lurk. And I mean, the blitz comes in so fast that they try to send 5 out that I'm not sure what they would throw unless they were kind of just guessing where I was going to use her. So let's run this back here. So I scrape across the middle, which is how you make the blitz come in, especially when they don't block anyone. But while doing that, I'm also taking away this drag on this initial throw. They can throw that flat again, but honestly, I'm not sure how many yards they would gain on it. And then I'm circling back. I'm kind of guarding the post on this circle back. Like if they threw it right here, I'm in the direct line pretty much. So I'd probably get a pick on that if they threw it right there. And then if they wanted to throw the running back, they'd catch it because they're in front of me, but they'd probably only gain a couple yards. And it might be scary because if I had used her a little bit tighter to it, I could probably get a pick on it. They threw the drag. We have this yellow here. And the C route's guarded by that cloud as well. So, I mean, that takes away the majority of the stuff. I'm going to run commit here to make sure I get this first down. But that's just the base setup right there. That's not me doing anything special. It's not changing anything up. It's just setting up the blitz and then usering. That's really the only adjustment is me, whatever I'm usering. So now we'll look at something else. Let's look at mesh post. The mesh post is a good one. This can allow us to make a little bit of adjustments. So we have this base set up here, right? And I'll hike it normally, but here's a setup that I like. Delay fang the tight end, hitch on RB, and then you have the running back wheel. So let's just use this, and then we'll kind of show what it'll look like as the play develops when we go into the replay. So, and I actually didn't get close enough to the line, so they actually blocked the blitz. So I don't want that. I want you all to see the blitz coming in against it. So let me get closer. That was my bad. You want to make this delay fake go out to force them to not be able to pick up this blitz. So there we go. Oh, and I didn't have the best scrape there, so we didn't even get anyone free initially. But let's look at this replay to break this thing down. So I feel like I came down too far personally, so I didn't get a good scrape across the line, which is how we get a lot of our block sheds. But there, let's just look at it anyways. So initially, they could throw this running back, but I feel comfortable this vertical can make the tackle for a few yard gain. Delay fades get sent out automatically because we're lurking down, and then we're kind of in between the post and the hitch. Like, they couldn't throw the post right here probably if I held. And they could probably start throwing it now. Like, they couldn't throw it yet. Probably now they probably could. But ideally, we're screaming a little bit faster, and then I'm getting back on this hitch. So let's look at mesh post one more time, but I'm going to show one adjustment that I might make. Sorry about that. I had to cut there. I wasn't doing the scrape across the line with my user properly, and that was making the blitz not come in. And I wanted to make sure I had the blitz right for you all, just because if you're not doing the blitz right, then your adjustments likely won't work, because you're adjusting based on the belief that your blitz is going to come in. So if it doesn't, your coverage is likely to break down. But now I want to talk about this man up to the running back that I was wanted to show before. So that's going to help you take away the wheel for longer. When we had the vert hook out there, you could still probably throw the running back. It would only be a few yards, but you want to see if you could just completely take it away to make them throw something else. Maybe they'll throw a pick on it, or maybe they'll just end up taking a sack. But now I want to make sure I get this scrape right. So this is where you want to stand. I wasn't standing in the right spot before. So when you make that delay fade come out, you should be able to get someone free. And then there we go. We got our disengage that we tend to get from this defense. We either usually get one of the slot corners or the disengage. And when you get quick pressure like that, it makes it really tough to throw something quickly. So the only options that they have really as quick routes, this out route, which you can't really throw because we have a cloud flat there. Maybe throw it there, but it's scary, especially if you have acrobat here, which I don't because I run a lot of man coverage. But if you're running mostly or strictly zone, then I recommend having acrobat on your outside corners. This running back, the man does a good job there, and that's kind of a scary throw. You have this hitch that we're guarding, and you could throw this post right here, but you're already kind of getting sacked, so it's tough. And then the delay fade, I mean, it's just kind of running into the hitch and to the post early because it wasn't supposed to be running out, but we kind of forced it to go out. So that's the man up that I wanted to talk about versus mesh post. But to take it one step further, let's go to verticals is a decent one, I suppose. So like, let's say like they did this type of setup, and actually I need to flip it. So if you had a delay fade, which that is a delay fade, it's just red because that's the primary route on verticals. Then you have the running back on an out route. You did the exact same setup with this manned up running back. You could take it even a step further and put this player in a purple to take away that out route, because the out route is actually going to beat the man, right? And I'll show that on the replay that it'll beat it. But when you combine that with a 5-yard purple out there, that's going to help you to be able to take away the out route and the wheel route. So the man up takes away the mesh post wheel route that we just showed on the play before. But the out route's going to beat it. So if you want to take away both, you can man it up to take away the wheel route and have the purple out there to take away the out route. Because if you just had the purple and you didn't have the man, the wheel route's open. If you just have the man and you don't have the purple, the out route's open. So to take away both of them, you need both. And then you have your user. Now, here's the part about that, though. We no longer have any deep blues on the right side because we manned up the outside player to B also. Now, if you wanted to be a little bit safer, you could put this player in an outside third, maybe move them back some to make sure that they don't get beat over top. But here, we're just going to keep it to B. Now, you want to shade over top if you're doing that, because if you don't shade over top, you don't have any deep blues out there on that right side. And if you're running mostly zone, you probably don't have deep route KOs on that outside corner like I would in nickel 3-3-5 wide. So a streak's probably going to be more likely to beat you. Now, since you don't have any deep blues over there, you need to be cognizant of any routes going over there, like a crosser from RB. So if I go down to scrape to send out this delay fade, I might get beat over top. And that's what I'm going to show you here. So I go to scrape across. Now I got pressure. So maybe they can't make that read. But if for some reason you don't get it, this RB route is a huge game, maybe even a touchdown. So let me show it to you. We do the lurk that we're supposed to do in order to send out the delay fade. We get pressure. And if they try to throw RB here, this is about the best lurk that you can get to possibly get a pick on this. This is about the best you can do because you're not keeping up with that route. If you run down and run across the line like I did, you're not keeping up with RB. Now you can jump and get this pick, right? And if they try to throw a bullet pass, that would work. But if for some reason you don't scream and they pick up your blitz, whether it be the running back being blocked, so they have a max pro, or you mess up your scrape and the delay fade stays in, or they don't even have a delay fade. Maybe they just block their tight end, right? Maybe they didn't want a delay fade. Maybe you've been sending them out the entire time and they just block it, and they get time. You lurk it here, but after it gets past that, that's gone. That's wide open. That's going to be a huge game, maybe a touchdown if this player can get a good block. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. You're being like really risky with that, but it can work, as you saw. Like you probably end up getting a pick right here. If I would guess right, they would probably throw this to you on a bullet pass, and you'd probably get a pick. But the other thing is that the delay fade is actually open because it's basically a one step slow behind streak. And so the deep blue is not going to play it, and we're not lurking, and we're lurking RB, so they could potentially throw the delay fade. Now, that's just something I would say mixing in that you could do if you wanted to be less aggressive with it. And I'll actually just run commit now to give the first down, and then we can kind of do a less aggressive version of taking away the running back wheel and out route. You're only sending 5 people. It's not like you're sending 7. And you're like guaranteed pressure no matter how they block. You're only sending 5, so like it's possible to pick it up. So let's go back to verticals. A less risky version would be something like this, where you purple here, and then maybe like man up. Man up here, and just keep the flat like that. That's the wheel route version, but you want the purple there, so maybe like this. With the outside corner, which, I mean, it's not great because if they streaked X, you'd have it. Like, it's less... actually, let me set it up. So, like, that streak's going to be wide open if you do that adjustment. So, probably you kind of are stuck doing this if you want to be less risky, honestly. The only other thing that I could think of would be, like, doing this. Move this player back and put him in a deep half, something like this, because then you would have the 5-yard flat out there, and you have the man up. Because if you leave the cloud out there like we have, like if you leave it like this, the cloud's on 15, so like that's not going to do an amazing job on the out route. And I guess I'll show it to you here. I'll move him back into his position, but I feel like you can get a decent gain on the running back still. Show it. Like that out route hooked the man. And that flat zone's not guarding it. But let's throw it now against the purple, against that makeshift setup. So step back up. I'll show both. I'll show the throw against both. So we'll show this version, and then we'll show the version where we were like really aggressive with it. So that 5-yard flat out there, you could throw this. Well, we missed the tackle, but I'm not able to click on and actually make the tackle. So. Like that would have probably only been a couple yard gain if I click on to make that tackle. And then we'll show the other version of it where we were super aggressive. But again, we have to be really on point with our user. Otherwise, we could end up giving up a huge gain. So this is man to X and Y. We're shaded up over top, and we have this purple. So this is what it looks like. And I'll show the out route again here with this setup. Again, this setup should do a pretty good job. Only gain 3 to 4 yards. So that's the one aggressive adjustment that I would maybe mix in. I don't know if there's really much else that you can really do from DB Fire. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I would do. Maybe if you're having, like, if you wanted to take away a mid-read, take away a streak. So, like, maybe they're not play fading their tight end. Maybe they're doing flood and this is the setup I like right here. Something like this. You could put a mid-read there to try to take away that streak. Now you're set to 5, so it's not going to take it away for long. But scrape across. I bumped it like a lot. I mean, I guess with your scrape across the line, you're kind of taking away the the tight end streaks yourself, because you're gonna scrape across and then bounce back. But the mid read was gonna play a little bit more towards the middle, and if I hadn't bumped the tight end on the streak so much, it would be like right in this area where he comes out. So like it would be straight ahead. So that mid read would be in a good spot for it. This is about where the streak would be. It would be right here. So that's something else you could do. But that's just like a slight tweak. It's just changing a vert hook to a yellow. Actually, the one last thing against bunch I wanted to show was like a cover 3 cloud adjustment. One thing that you could do. This would really take away tight end streaks and other streaks. I'll cover 3 cloud. Now in the coverage adjustment video from the block sheds, I had you put the cloud flat from the outside corner on the bunch side, but when you're blitzing, I would actually recommend doing it from the doing the opposite. So having the cloud flat actually on the ISO receiver side, and then yellowing this player here, and then basically just making it so you're going to either like use the right side yourself entirely, or the other thing that I was going to say. Now, the reason why I was going to say that maybe this isn't the best thing to do is because the way that you set up the blitz is you come down and you scrape across left. Well, if you're scraping across to the left, there's nothing for you to lurk. I mean, there's no way for you to lurk the right side. Like if they put a flat or anything out there, they just can throw it. So what I was going to say, the last part of this could be is cloud flat here and deep half there. Oh, all right. I'll just use this as my run commit down to get the first down because my play art's messed up. That's not how the play art would be if I actually hike the ball, but it can sometimes get messed up. So I'm just gonna get my first down now and go back to what I was gonna say. So we'll come on and double post. So with the cloud flat on the left side already, you have this, right? Here's your setup, and here's what I would recommend doing if you don't want to lurk the right side, which I recommend not doing because we have to scrape across the left side to make the blitz really effective. You put a cloud flat here, deep half there, then you middle linebacker the deep blue to protect everything. So that would take away the seam streak with that deep blue in the middle. And then you have cloud flats to the right, just like on cover 2. But here's where it can be interesting. So they can, if they run verticals, they might think that they have this streak on the left, and they might end up throwing it right to your third. So even if you're like, my cloud flats are set to 15, so they might not throw it against 15s, but against like 10s, they might get tricked into throwing that. And yeah, so my cloud flat played. I actually want to show this. I want to show this. My bad. I want to show this with 10s. I'm sorry. I'm messing this up. Come on, kid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'll cut here and we'll get it back, and I'll set this up. Okay, we're back on O now, and I'm simulating maybe you wanted to be really aggressive with your blitz. You wanted to put your flats more shallow than the 15. You maybe wanted to play 10, even maybe 5. But we'll just stick with the 10 for now. And we'll go to cover 3 cloud. Actually, let's start with cover 2 just to show you the read that they can make against cover 2. And then show you how you can maybe trick them into throwing against the cover 3 cloud. So this is the blitz. And if they run verticals, the out route there, the same exact setup that we were just talking about, right? And they can throw this verticals to the outside, right? Right there. Because it beats the 10. And like that's a good read. Like that's almost 20 yards. But, or maybe it was 20 yards. But now if they go back to verticals and you're running the same 10-yard flats with your cloud flats, blitz. This is the setup I was talking about. That middle linebacker in the deep blue. If they do the same exact setup, and they might see that it's going to get over the third. Oh, throw that. Now, I can't click onto it, so we actually caught it. But I think, especially if you have acrobat on your safeties, which I have acrobats on my safeties, I highly recommend that. This could trick them into a pick. Now, I know it's not perfect for me to be able to throw this. Maybe actually I have someone with acrobat that I can put Alexander there. So they could think this is cover 2 because you have a cloud flat there that's running by, and they can make this read, and your third picks it off because it's actually a third and it's not a half. So let me try. Let me actually put Alexander there. See if we can get an acrobat pick on it, because that's what we're going to have in MUT. If you're in MUT, I would highly recommend that. So let's just do the same exact thing. And I think this could be really, really useful to mix in. We have double me. I don't know if that shouldn't matter. Here we go. He gets past you, try to throw that streak, and then you get the acrobat. And that's without clicking on. Like if I click on and hold wide, that's probably a pick. And honestly, if I'm the offense, I very well might throw this because this is something that can help beat cover 2, especially against the blitz if they use shallow flats. I might throw that thinking it's cover 2 and it's cover 3 cloud, and that safety comes over, and if you hold wide, it's probably a pick instead of a swat. And you probably get a better, like you probably get closer to it just because you're clicking on and you can do a little bit better job than the AI possibly. So I'll put Alexander back. I just wanted to show that with acrobat. But yeah, so that's something else that you could do. That's one extra little like tidbit setup that you could do. But honestly, I'm probably blitzing on a DB fire the majority of the time. I'm trying to think if there's any other plays that I would want to. Actually, I need to set my zone drops to 15 again. But yeah, I mean, the 15s will do good enough jobs against Z spot early on. Like if they ran Z spot, so I'm like, that's the call I would probably want them to use. I'll go back to DB fire, but like if they call Z spot and they did like a quick little setup like this, the base setup I feel like would do a good job. So like we have the base setup here. That bird hook on the left would take away that drag early. Seam streaks taken away by the deep half. The cloud flat would probably play in between the corner route and the flat route, and they're probably sacked before they can actually do anything. So like maybe if they made a perfect time read on that corner route, maybe. And I'll try it again here. I didn't even. That was one of my slower blitz come-ins too. So it's like it's not even like it could be a little bit faster. So like, try it one more time with this. Scrape across, and yeah, I mean, maybe they throw that corner route early. I don't know if the safety would get there with acrobat or not, though. I'm gonna try throwing it. The player doesn't have acrobat, but if they did have acrobat, I think they would get there if they try to throw it that early. I'm gonna try to get the blitz to come in, but if the blitz doesn't come in, I'll just throw it early as if it did because I can't use her and do both. So I'll try this. I threw it right there. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. That was about the same timing as when the blitz was coming in, right? So like, let's see. The blitz actually came in because I blitzed my user. So, but it's not the fastest blitz come in because like you can get the disengages. But this was about when I was wanting to throw it before. You see that D-Pat breaks on it. This is without acrobat. So like maybe with acrobat they even dive at it. There's no acrobat here. So maybe they can get to it too. I mean, there's no click on either. I mean, that feels like that play's not open. Like I feel like that I'm fine with them doing that. And if they threw the flat route underneath, that would be some yards. I think. Like if they threw the tight end, I still think that the player would rally and only give up 3 to 4 yards. So they're kind of playing in between. So I mean, it's solid. I don't think I would change anything on that play. For Z spot. So that's the setup. I mean, I'll jump into I'll cut here and punt the ball back and get into the gun tight slots, but the setups are going to be pretty similar. So I decided I'll quickly go through tight slots H-back weak, but since it's similar to bunch in the alignment with it being a compressed set, I won't take too long on it, and I'll actually show one other formation. I'll go over trips tight end offset, just to kind of go over the things that you might want to do against a formation like that, like a trips tight end regular. But since this formation, this book doesn't have that, we'll just stick with trips tight end offset. But we'll quickly go through tight slots H-back weak. Again, this is going to be your base setup, and you're lining up over the tight end. The same things are going to be taken away, though, pretty much. I mean, if you do something like a double drags with a corner out like this, something like this, or maybe like a slant there, something like this, that's going to be, I wouldn't want the running back. Nothing's really going to be open early if you get pressure. Now, if they do block the running back, they could get some time. But with the 15-yard flat, like it might take a second for that corner route to get over there. So let me try, let's just try the blitz. Let's see what happens. Let's line up out right here. Scrape across. Again, they picked it up because the running back's there, but I mean, there's nothing really they could throw early on. Like you're gonna get, even if you don't get like home initially on the blitz, you're sending 5 people, so you should get a block shed quick enough to keep them from being able to throw anything quick. Now my user was really bad, so they could throw the slant. But if I had used it a lot better and not ran into this, so I'm trying to do multiple things at once, and taking away that slant, there's nothing really that they can throw flat late maybe, but I'm working my way over there with the slant. The corner route couldn't be thrown until probably here, and this is a deeper corner route, so I guess the deep half would probably get back to it. Let me try like user and better, just user and better on that play, to show that like it can do a better job and keep everything from getting open. So let's do double drag. Well, drag with the slant and the flat, and then block the running back. Even with the blocked running back, I user solidly here, and we actually got the pressure. So, and I did a better job of using there to take away the route. So, if they block the running back, they'll pick up the blitz a good amount. But like that time, if we got pressure. But even if they didn't, like I don't really see anything that they could really have thrown. The drag you can't throw early. Slant on back there. Flat again. This flat would rally to the ball and probably only give up 3 to 4 yards. I feel like. If you throw that drag, the yellow will just rally to the ball and probably only give up a couple yards. The corner route isn't really even over the cloud flat yet. I don't even know if you could still throw that at this point. So that'll take that away. Now this post route, actually let's just look at mesh spot. Mesh spot now is a solid place. I'm gonna flip it. So one thing that you could look at is this running back route. This wheel is very similar to the one from mesh post. So you might have to man that up if you wanted to take it away initially. So like maybe they have it set up like this with a delay fade. Delay fade, they have the post, they have a drag, and then they have that wheel route, right? So here's how you're going to want to lurk on it. You're going to want to send that delay fade out. You lurk down, pop back, take away the drag. We actually didn't get pressure there, but even if they had a quick read to that running back, like I talked about with mesh post. Even if you have the yellow there, this wheel route can be thrown for a few yards early. Like if they threw it, not yet, probably not yet, even especially if you have an Akbar on the linebacker, but now. If you had time to get to this point, you could throw that running back probably and get up the field. And so if you want to take that away fully, you can man that running back up. The rest of this, I mean, you're lurking the drag, you're still on the delay fade. They could probably throw the post now, like right there. But you're hoping that they're sacked by that point. So let's try one more time. But after I run come in and try to pick this up. So run commit. Yeah, so I mean after this play I'm gonna jump over to trips tight end offset. There's no reason to continue showing the same setup just in a different formation. It's really similar alignment with it being compression. So let me one last time here with that setup. DB fire, mesh spot. They fade the tight end, and this is the setup right here. So something that you might want to do is just man up this running back, and then you really don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about doing like the over adjusting like we did in the other formation with manning other players up just in case they out route. Just because the out route will get, just in case they out route from the running back, that is. The out route from the receiver will get taken away by the cloud flat. The man up will guard the running back decently well, mixed with the flat and the deep half. And then the post route, you just need to guard in the middle of the field with the drag. So try to get a better lurk here this time. And let's get down there. Bounce back. We got pressure. And, I mean, you're just hoping that they either make a mistake throwing it at you, or if they do check down, your players can rally to the ball quick enough that they only gain a few yards. Like right here, we get them to send out the delay fade. And I run straight to the post. I don't really guard the drag. Like you might think if you're the user as the quarterback that I might just stay low on this drag because I'm so far underneath. But instead, I just run straight back at the post. If they threw that drag, hopefully that this cloud can rally to the ball. But if you're worried about that, you just focus more on lurking towards the drag instead of the post. So I'll just do the same thing, but I'll lurk a little bit differently here. That out route, so you have the same thing, but I'm just gonna lurk a little bit differently instead of going to the post. I was actually too far back. Yeah, I knew I was. I'll throw it away. That's my bad. I wasn't in the right position to make the tight end go out. But yeah, I mean that's really what changes, right? You change your zone drop some. You might make an adjustment here or there, manning someone up or mixing in a slightly different thing. But honestly, like the thing that really changes is what you user. If you use different things, you can throw off your opponent, maybe force them into a mistake. Right there, we didn't get the pressure that we wanted, but that time, but we were like, sometimes the pressure, like if it gets picked up, they barely get picked up, so they have really good like angles as a blitz, and they're gonna end up shedding in like a very quick second anyway. So like right here, as the tight end delay fade goes out, this tackle has to adjust really late, and he just catches his outside shoulder. So really, he just basically bounces off while all the other three of the other guys shed. But this time we lurked a little bit differently. So instead of going straight back at the post, we lurked straight over on the drag. And they could throw this delay fade maybe, but the post is going to be tough this early with it running into the deep half. And they're sacked before they could really do anything. Honestly, like I feel like the only read that they could have made was the delay fade maybe. But you might not even make that read because you might get scared, at least early in the game, because you might think that your tight end's supposed to stay in and block. So I'll do it one more time. Hopefully you can get the pressure to come in this time perfectly smooth instead of just catching it late. But this will be the last play before we go to trips tight end offset. And we'll call it. I mean, I don't want this video to be too long. It's already longer than I wanted it to be honest. But and there we go. So we got the pressure. We lurked the drag. That's exactly what we want. And we just completely changed up what we did. Like one time we lurked and went straight to the post. The next time we lurked the drag. That keeps them guessing. And while they're guessing, they're hopefully getting sacked, right? Like that's the ideal thing. While he's waiting, okay, which way is he going to run? So you see me. I have the option here at this point. I can run straight back to this post like I did before. That's exactly what I did. I ran across the line and I ran straight back to the post. Or I can just turn right around and stay with this drag. And he doesn't know what I'm going to do. So he can't throw anything yet. Which way am I going? Now he could maybe throw the post. Maybe. I don't know. That post, maybe if it was a shallower post, like if they had a hot routed post. But you don't know what I'm doing. And by the time you see what I commit to, you're sacked ideally. That's the point of the blitz, and that's why we're being so aggressive with our user and with our adjustments to a degree. So now let's jump into trips tight end offset. I'll cut again until we have the ball back, and then we can go from there. All right, we've got the ball back, and we're going to call trips tight end offset. I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can. I know these videos of adjustments have been long, but with this alignment, it's going to be a little bit different than the compression. We're still going to do a lot of similar adjustments. You have to keep in mind, I've mentioned before, that if you're in baseline like I recommend, you're going to likely need to move this player back because from the wide side if they're in a spread out formation like this. So I'll just move them to right here just to keep it consistent. Because if it's a deep blue, like if a deep third or a deep quarter, I'd like them to be a little bit back so they don't get beat deep. So with the soft squat, I'll do the same thing. And then you're going to use her on this side. And essentially, the difference is going to be that you can get a little bit more aggressive with your adjustments on this side, I feel like. So something that you might want to do is something like this. So I know we're not in cover 3 cloud, but you could do something like this. And it could be tough for them to make a read to the flat to the right. Like they don't have an easy running back read to the right. Sometimes they might have a smoke screen out there. But outside of having that, I feel like they might do something like I used to do. One of my favorite setups for beating blitzes would be something like this in years past. And they have that Y flat route, but like that's not a read that I tended to want to make. I would want to throw the streak, which this vert hook would take away. I'm gonna try to show both at the same time here. So that vert hook would take away the streak early, and then it would take the in route away as a cut across, and then we could just kind of lurk the right stuff. And I really like that setup. Let's go back to cover 2 though now. So with that, and then also something you could do is if you're worried about a seam streak, you can man it up. Oh, yeah, and my adjustments are glitched. Let me run commit so my adjustments aren't glitched, and we can keep these adjustments going. Get back down. So you could take that vert hook and you can man up the seam streak if you wanted to take away like anything down the middle. Let's go back to the. You could do this. Player back. You can do this. Man it up to the seam streak to where that would take that away. Sorry, I know I'm kind of trying to get set up here. So with that seam streak, you can take that away with manning it up, and then you're going to be with the way that you use her is you scrape down and you lurk back. You could maybe even get a pick on that in route. Like I'm actually going to try to show that here. The way that I use her. So you take away the seam streak with the man. You come down and you scrape across. And then I try to throw it. I try to using the two controllers, I try to throw it when we got the quick pressure there. But like if they tried to throw that, especially if I had acrobat, which I don't have on my user, but if you did, I would. Yeah, I don't think I'd have it even if I was running dollar. But you see the scrape across here. I would probably. You can't throw the in route yet. This is. I mean, the cloud flat's still kind of there. You probably want to throw it here, and we're flying at that thing. Like we might get to that if they try to throw it. So like that can help bait someone into a pick. Now they could throw this. Like there's things out there that they can throw, but ideally you're just trying to force them into a mistake. So with you lurking on this right side, their first look is likely going to be to the left, and you're just flying over there to try to get a pick on it, and that's the goal. So that's something that you might want to do. I mean the base setup that you have is still fine against trip side end. That doesn't really change. Like this is still fine if they did that seam streak setup again, like that would be fine. The bird hook would guard that for a little bit, pass it off to the deep zone, and it would take the in route, and then you could just lurk, like you could come down, lurk across, but come back to the tight end. Something along like this. I'll try to lurk right again, bounce back, and oh no, don't get it. But yeah, I mean that's really all I'm trying to show. I mean the deep stuff, like if they try to go to their PA crossers play, like I don't think they'd have time to throw like any of the crossers or the posts. Let me actually let me call this play. So the trip side end doesn't have a play like this that I know of, but if they were in trip side end offset, this little like kind of like post play could be pretty good. It'd probably get over your vert hook really fast. But if you want to take that away, maybe a mid read on 10 yards instead of 5 would do pretty decent against it, I think, at least early on in the play. Let me go back to like PA crossers here. Like if they ran PA crossers and they tried to do this, lay fade, and then like if they tried to do this, or even if they just wanted to get the crosser and they motioned across a slant like this, maybe they did that. Like I don't think that they would have time to throw that crosser. So let's see what we can do against this. Them just send the delay fade out, and then yeah, I mean they're sacked before they could do anything. So I don't know. I mean I think that's really it. I don't want to make this video go longer. I'm just trying to think of things now, and I can't really think of much that I would change on that play. Like I mean the setups are doing pretty solid against them, so I wouldn't change anything. I'm gonna call it. This video's been long enough. I hope this is helpful for you. I hope you'll be able to mix in different, like slightly different adjustments with your blitz, but just be able to mix in this blitz in general with your coverage and hopefully force your opponent into some mistakes.